Bob Wiedemer says low volume or strong volume, this sell-off will just keep going and going and going. Why, Bob?
Well, I think there's two reasons. Right now, the worldwide growth story is kind of fading. We've got Korean exports down almost 10%, 7 consecutive months in a row. Brazil in big recession. We've got Canada in recession as well. So the growth story is sort of fading, and that was important, I think, to keeping the stock market up. Obviously, lack of money printing is the other driver that's not there. It's not helping to push it back up in the face of bad news.
You know, I knew you were coming back, so I wanted to pick your brain on this. Will they or won't they regarding the Federal Reserve? I've heard an argument that if the Federal Reserve delays raising interest rates, that'll still tank the markets. If they do raise interest rates, that'll still tank the markets. They can't win for love or money here. What do you think happens?
Yeah, I think you're right. And I'll be honest, I'm not sure what's going to happen. I think Janet Yellen really wants to keep to increasing rates, to say everything's fine and we're back to normal policy. But honestly, there is enough instability out there that they may postpone it. And I think you're right. Either way, I don't know if this market's going to like it. I suspect it won't. You know, Bob, another weird thing. Obviously, the Chinese markets closed today as they were yesterday, honoring the 70th anniversary of the end of World War II. And a lot of people said in that void we would do well, but now I've heard arguments maybe we're the next China, maybe we're everyone who's been hedging and placing their bets on us have done so prematurely. What do you think? I think a bit. I don't think we're the next China exactly, because I do think the Fed will step in and ultimately help us. But I think that's a really good point, is people have thought, well, China's really the whole problem, and their market's going down has been the issue. And I've said before, China's important, but it's not everything on what's causing this downturn. There's more to it than just China. So I'm not totally surprised to see the market's down today, even if China's closed. You know,
some of the high flyers that really got this bull market going, if you think of Apple and Google and Facebook, I mean, they're all taking on the chin, not only today, but largely since this correction began. And I'm wondering, if they continue to take it on the chin, who replaces them if there is a comeback?
Yeah, well, it's not energy, as we just learned. And oil had been a real good growth sector for the economy and certainly for the market as well. I mean, when the techs get hit and the high flyers get hit, I mean, there's always the oddball, maybe whatever Uber goes public, but not in this market. So I don't think there's anybody going to lead it at this point if those techs aren't.
There's another argument. This is my crazy argument. You're the expert, Bob, but as you know, I read a prompter pretty well, if I say so myself. Yeah. So here's what I want to know. I know we have a correction where stocks are now, about 12% off their highs. And it would only take another 8% to get us into a bear market, and the market might be thirsting for that. Wash out, get all this nonsense out, and then move on. What I've also discovered about bear markets is you just don't briefly visit them and head out, right?
Yeah, no, a lot of people look at that and they go, gee, I've also made a lot of money in this market, Neil, and I'm doing fine. I really don't want to risk it. I don't know what's going on out there, because it's not always the news that's pushing this market down. And enough people will not so much sell, but stop buying, or some will get out of the way. But remember, a market goes down when the buyers evaporate, even if there's no sellers. So I think that's the thing I would worry about if it goes down 20%, is, are the buyers really going to come in? I'm not so sure.
That's a very good point. Sometimes it could be the buyers just not showing up. Bob,
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Have a safe Labor Day weekend. Good seeing you.
You too.
All right, then there's